Hi dear friends, this is Ouassima from Ouassima Magic, and welcome to this video where I will be talking with you about the Haindl Tarot. We started studying tarot decks in our group, Study Your Tarot Deck in 21 Days, July 2018, and it has been already practically 1 year since we started studying tarot decks. We studied the Shadowscapes, the Prisma Visions, Thought, Marseille. We studied many decks. And when I arrived, or when I got to the Haindl Tarot deck, I was in the middle of a move. So I was moving from a country to a new country to live in for some months, years, we're gonna see. And I didn't have it yet. It was like 2 weeks before we started the study, and I didn't have the deck yet, and I didn't even know if I'm gonna buy it or I'm gonna do the study or how am I going to do. And then I saw a post on Facebook, on a group on Facebook, where one lady was selling her decks, many of her decks, at a good price. And she was living in, I think, Ottawa, not that far from Montreal, where I was living. So I contacted her and I told her, well, I am really interested by the Haindl Tarot, and she had the 2 books also, companion books that come with. I'm gonna talk about that later. She had many other decks that I wanted to have, but I didn't have time or didn't have the budget for it. And she had that all at good prices, and she knew me and she knew the decks I made, and she bought decks from me, so she knew me in a way, and she made a good deal for me. And I was like, thank you very much. You don't know how much I appreciate that. So I wanted just to thank her for this opportunity to get the Haindl Tarot with the companion books and all the other decks. So the Haindl Tarot has come in a rush, and he was offering himself in a way to me 2 weeks or so before we start the study. And it arrived, and I was intrigued by understanding it. It was I felt like it was a weird deck. It's not, a weird deck in a way, in the same way as the Marielle Tarot deck. If you didn't see my videos about the Marielle, check them out. And yeah, I felt it was like weird, mysterious, and I was curious, but I didn't know how to start with. And I started slowly. I took my time. We are in the middle practically of the month, and we are the 11th of May today. And yes, I experienced some things interesting with it. So I wanted to share my experience with you and giving you my view of the spirit of this deck. So let's start. So first, the deck comes in a normal box, I would say, like the Los Carabio and US Games decks. Mine is torn a bit, it came that way, but the deck in itself was in really good shape. The deck has this eye on the back of the cards. I have been reading some parts of the books, but I didn't come across the meaning of the back of the cards. But it is an eye, I believe, for myself till now, it's an eye of a dragon. All right, so, and it has borders. Borders, for me, it doesn't bother me that much for this deck. I feel this deck needs borders for myself because the paintings are, in a way, cosmic, have cosmic, yes, the paintings have cosmic vibes, ether vibe, dreamy vibe. So it needs borders for me so I can contain that word. See the sky here. If I open the borders, I will feel lost in a way. So for now, I will keep them. Also, the deck comes with a small guidebook, really little guidebook, but you can order separately 2 books. Some of the participants in the group said that there are 3, but for me, I just found 2. I don't know about the third one. But the first one is the Haindl Tarot, the major arcana. And the second is the Haindl Tarot, the minor arcana. Now, the paintings are made by Haindl. Let me just find the name so I can say it correctly. It's by Haindl Hermann. And the books were written by Pollack, as you know her. She's like the guru, one of the gurus in the tarot community. She wrote so many books about tarot, where she offers her visions. She makes connections between traditions like the Kabbalah, like the tarot, and Hebrews, literal Hebrews, and even in this deck with runes. So she's an encyclopedia. She's like a dictionary, a moving dictionary with about tarot, about history, about mythology. She has a very strong background that she showed in these 2 books, at least for me, about history, mythology, but also actual events that happened in the world. And I would say the word condition, even with environment condition, etc. So there are a lot of information in this in these 2 books, and I feel for myself that the 2 books bring a lot for me, for this deck, to understand this deck, but also for my own knowledge. So it spreads. It makes big our conscious understanding of the world and deities, for example, etc. So I think for myself it's really important to have these 2 books with the deck. Now, speaking about the deck, it has a lot of I'd say it's mystic. I feel it is really mystic. It has a lot of deities, a lot of goddess and goddesses, ancestors. The deck, when you touch it, you feel that you need to respect it. It is something sacred. I feel this deck is really sacred with its symbols, paintings. I feel this deck is like a temple, a sacred temple in which you enter to get teachings. There are a lot of also magical beings like unicorns, serpents, a lot of serpents, goats, dragons, Pisces, fish, birds, etc. There are a lot of elephants. There are a lot of animals and magical beings also in this deck, which makes it interesting to work with magical beings, with some deities, etc., as in a meditation way or connection way, ritual way, etc. Some of the members of the group said that this deck reminds them of winter, and with its vibe, and some wanted to put it aside and to study it maybe for winter, others not. For me, I didn't feel it like it is related to seasons. I felt it more ether, really with the ether vibe, cosmic vibe. Even if there are a lot of earth elements, water elements, etc. in the deck, it belongs to the dream realm in a way for me. It's like nothing is clear. You need really to focus to see things. You need to have a close look. The meanings are sometimes different, really different from the traditional tarot meanings. And by the way, this deck is made following the tradition of Aleister Crowley, so following the thought system. But in a different way. It has its own system, to be honest. Even if it follows an order, it has its own system. And every card you have, thanks to Pollack, we know that it has different layers of meaning and understanding. It gives an expansion. It really gives an expansion of our understanding, of our vision of things. Also, one major synchronicity that I got with this deck is that like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before, I started to work with the Isis oracle. I was skeptic a bit about the paintings of this deck, as I don't see Isis in this vibe, in this way. But I was curious about it, and I started to work with the oracle deck to get deeper with this archetype of the with Isis. I worked with her before, but I wanted a closer contact with her. And the first card I draw from this deck was Isis. So it was for me synchronicity saying that you did well by getting this deck, and I'm gonna teach you something. I'm gonna help you to get in contact also with the spirit realms, with spirit deities also. So it was a big sign for me also that this deck can be used for mediumship, for divination and communication with spirit allies. And we can do an interview with our deck to know more about that. Maybe you can talk about that later on. So what is the spirit of the Haindl Tarot? I give you some some ideas, some personal thoughts, but from the book, what they say that the goal of this deck is the renewal of the earth, the spiritual earth, in the actual crisis of the world. This deck speaks about thinking green, thinking about the planet, and it groups many teachings from different cultures, which makes this deck really inclusive not by the appearance of people, but inclusive in culturally. It is inclusive. It has a lot of symbols, and just if you see the cards, you have, let's say here as an example, you have the runes, you have the Hebrew letters, you have the tarot deck, you have also the how do we call let me see, the hexagrams. I'm sorry, because sometimes my English is not that at point, but it is inclusive even with the systems, with different systems that it has. Also, the process of painting, as it was described in the book, says that the painter tried to absorb traditional meanings and ideas and then work in an unconscious way, like not saying that I'm going to paint this and this. No, working unconsciously without thinking necessarily about what will emerge. So it was like a discovery, and after that discovery, they try to refine these paintings by adding symbols, colors, etc. consciously. So this deck, with the spirit of the paint, from the process of the painting, we get that process of the deck, that we can work unconsciously at the beginning for reading, to make readings with this deck, and then put in the symbols, or adding other layers of understanding, as I said before, using the symbols and mythology, etc. Also, this deck shows the personal beliefs of its creator. I loved one paragraph of the book saying that every deck is a personal expression of the creator. And it's true, because when it is the personal expression of the creator, you learn something new. You are not exposing or putting all the old system you learn or you understand on this new deck. Which, I mean, for me, I love new systems. I love learning. I don't like when it's always the same thing. I love when I have new insights, new ideas. And also, sorry, this is the door. So also this deck makes the link, as we said, between the spiritual realm and the earth realm. He is because it's, as you may know me, I always say that every deck is a spirit in itself, and this spirit of this deck is a medium, is yes, a medium, or is the link between spirituality and earth. Okay, so let's go on also with the spirit of this deck. So from the back of the cards, there is the eye. For me, it's the eye of a dragon. An eye is permeates light, and light passes through the card and comes to your heart and penetrates you, so you can get an insight or an understanding in a profound way. So this deck helps that. From the colors, we know that the colors show us also the spirit of the deck, and from the colors yellow, green, blue, shady, muddy, not clear, we see that there is a link between the past and the future. This deck is coming, I would say, from the past to give us teachings to the future. Now, from the cards, when I asked the deck about its spirit, the first card that came was alchemy. Now let me find my cards. The first one I got. All right, so the first card I got when I asked the deck, what is your spirit? I got alchemy. Alchemy or alchemy, balance, temperance, not going from an extreme to another, wise. This deck has a wide view of the questions or the matters. This card has the light and dark also. Every question, every answer has darkness and light. It reminds us of the responsibility. What do we see? What caught our eyes? Are we in the middle between the darkness and the light? Are we in the middle? That means balance between the two words. With this deck, the veils are thin. We can go in and out from reality to another, from a dream to another. There is an understanding of events that go beyond the material and mental understanding or consciousness. I feel this deck has enhance our psychic powers. It brings us from extreme behaviors and emotions to the center. This deck acts as a center. It brings us from extreme behaviors, emotions, brings us to the center, and also makes us feel insecure to hear a wise and lucid voice behind. I see also in this deck, I don't know if you see a mirror just here. There is a mirror, and this mirror, we see ourselves with honesty, and we look in our unconscious fears and motivations. Our shadow and destructive parts are clear. So with this deck, we are away from perfection. We are more in contemplation before decision. This is the natural archaic state of things, state of humans. There is no artifice, no I need to be, I need to appear. There is no needless decorations. So this deck is the truth that sometimes we don't want to face, but it comes to us. So that means that we are ready. It's just that a small part of us don't want to hear. So this deck wants us to unite our distorted parts, the angel and demon on us. It reminds us unity, the one. So this is what the deck told me about its spirit with this card. The other things I wanted to share with you about this deck, I know that maybe it's a lot for just one video, but it is interesting to see in this deck what types of spirit guides appear and how do they appear. One of the examples I have is the Peacock. The Peacock is one of my spirit allies, and I was really surprised to see him appear many times in this deck. So the Peacock, let me see the eye. His eye appears also in some cards. So here is the eye of the peacock also. So the eye of the peacock helps us to see the truth of matters, to see really deeply what is, as I said, our motivations, our true nature of heart. It was also, the Peacock was also seen as a sign or symbol of resurrection, of reincarnation, karma, etc. But the peacock here in this deck appears for me as a spirit guide that is helping me. It appeared like that. Maybe I will talk about Isis also in another video, but the peacock appears for me in this deck to say, I am helping you to jump from a new environment to a new environment. I have lived my death in the old country I was living in, and now I am resurrected to a new country. But at the same time, it may be karma also. Why? Few days before I come to this country, I am established in Lisbon for now. Few days, I received a notification from Ancestry. Ancestry is a program where you see where you come from through a test of your ADN, of your DNA. And I got an update of this result. I did it like a year ago, and I got an update from this result. And I was so surprised to see that 11% of my ADN comes from Portugal, from here. Few days before I come to this country. It is like my ancestors saying, you're coming back to us so we can get in contact with you and maybe clear some things together. So this is what I mean by karma. It's doing the same thing maybe as our ancestors, is coming back to our ancestors. So it is a resurrection, but also a coming back to. So I would advise you maybe to, if you have this deck or you're interested in this deck, to look at the pictures and see if you have some spirit guides that are there. And maybe it's an animal, maybe it's a totem animal, maybe it's a deity. We have so many. We have Odin, we have others. So, yeah, what are your spirit guides that are in this deck? And what are their messages for you now at this moment? So yeah, this is like one tip I have been doing, and I have been working with the different spirits in this deck. So, okay, I will go on and on with this. So, oh yeah, one last thing. That completes maybe the spirit of this tarot deck. This deck is the 11th I have been studying in our study group, in our Facebook group, the 11th. So we started the last year in July, with the shadowscapes, I remember, I think. Or is it with the wild unknown? I forgot. But it is the 11th. And 11 is the justice. The justice card. Where is it? I just brought it here. Again, the peacock. So it is the justice. I want to share with you what the justice says and how it is related to the spirit of this deck. So, the justice occupies the 11th position, and our Haindl Tarot deck is the 11th. And it says, justice indicates coming to terms with our lives so that everything comes into balance. By understanding our past experiences, we free ourselves to create a new future. Justice requires contemplation on one side, but action on the other. For the future requires that we make choices. The other thing that Russia says about justice, she says, the meaning for justice focuses primarily on the idea of awareness. So this deck helps us to bring our life into balance again. It reminds me of the alchemy card that I got. And also to be aware about our actions, about our feelings, our thinking ideas. When we receive justice in a reading, it calls us to examine our lives, to weigh things in the balance. This may refer to an overall assessment. In other words, to consider what we have done with our lives up to this point and what choices face us in the future. So this deck again is a link between the sky and the earth, between the past and the future. The justice requires sometimes a step backwards But an honest assessment means emotional honesty as well. It's really what we said before. To be honest with ourselves, this deck helps us with that, helps us to come back to the center with emotions. Experience your feelings about the situation as openly as possible and discover what they actually are. And it goes on. It goes on. The book is really interesting. I mean, it's worth reading. I've been reading it slowly because it's rich with information. So I hope you liked this video. Now I'll just show you quite few cards if it is your first time seeing this deck. So you can, this is the High Priestess. In some cards you will find the same background. Also. So here are the minors, some of the majors. So yeah, so that's it for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please put a like just below, subscribe to this channel, and give us your questions, your reviews, your ideas of decks that we can study, or if you want me to make a connection review or a spirit review with the deck. I wish you a very, very nice day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.